Good morning, it is Thursday, it's the first day of the Randox Grand National Festival at what is possibly the most gorgeous Aintree you could imagine. The sun is high in the sky, there is not a cloud to be seen, there's just a gentle breeze, the track looks in magnificent shape, and we're bringing you the podcast live just here right on the corner of the racecourse stables here where the horses file out. I've got a view right down the line to Beecher's Brook here, and I'm alongside Jane Mangan, but today far from the most important member of the Mangan family, because one of the stars on show on day one is Spillane's Tower, who's one of the leading fancies for the bowl, and Jane's mum Mary is with us as well. Mary bringing back so many happy memories of that wonderful day. I don't like to say how long ago it was now, 22 years ago at Aintree when Monty's Pass won the Grand National.
22 years ago, yeah.
How does it feel to be back with a horse like Spillane's Tower?
Sure, confident, excited.
Did you ever think you'd be back?
I never thought we'd have a horse back again, no.
Jane, what do you remember of the day when Monty's Pass won?
I remember they left me at home. They left us all at home. I was 8 though, we were very young, and I spent it with my grandparents, and I remember watching it very vividly actually. I remember my dad wore a suit that was too small. I remember
how many times have you told him that since?
I probably not, because who cares? Like, it's in all the pictures on the wall anyway. There was mighty excitement because he was a syndicate-owned horse as well, and the whole county of Cork backed him, as everybody knew. And you come over for the national and you kind of hope to get around. Mm-hmm. Whereas with a Grade 1 today, you're kind of hoping you know a bit more about it, and you kind of hope that he'll run a big race.
Mary, can you take me back to that day a little bit, and just the whole lead up to the race, being involved in it, and then what you were feeling going into it, through the race and after, just how much it changed life for you and Jimmy and the whole family?
Oh yeah, like he was second in Tottenham the year before, and the plan was hatched from there, and he won the Kerry National in September, and he was put away especially for the National, and we said if he took to the Finches, which he seemed to love him in the Tottenham, he'd a real chance because he was a very good jumper.
You used to ride him every day?
Yeah, I used to ride him, yeah.
What sort of ride was he, Mary?
He was tricky.
He dropped a lot of jockeys.
Yeah, he had a great way of dropping people, but he's a horse that always turned up. He always gave his running, and it was a privilege to have, and he was a sound, honest, sound horse like that,
So I always say to Jane, I always think she's very self-deprecating about her talents in the saddle, and she kind of deflects the credit all the time. So,
I never rode him.
No. I'm just saying. So, did your riding talent come from Mum?
And I've said this to my brothers. She's the best rider of the whole family. My dad rode as an amateur. My brother was champion conditional. Brian's quite a good hunting rider, but yeah,
Brian's your older brother.
They're both older, yeah. They're twins. And she can get horses to settle and do things that I get run away with on at home. And she rides venting, and I wouldn't have the bottle for that. So, yeah, she's definitely... And I remember after he won the National, the BBC sent over Norman Williamson to ride the horse because, they were doing a fancy feature. And Mam was like, leave the irons down a bit. And what happened?
He came out the side door.
He kind of thought, oh, Mary Mangan, too cool for school.
Yeah.
Mary, just take us right the way back. When did it all start for you? Before you met Jimmy, were you riding as a girl right from the outset?
Yeah, sure, jumping, hunting. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That was my life growing up.
And then got into the racehorses through Jimmy.
Yeah.
But your granddad was a good amateur, wasn't he?
My grandfather was a very good amateur. There was horses in all the family back along.
When you come here to this place, and obviously those magical memories, try and sum up how this makes you feel, how Aintree makes you feel.
Sure, it's a privilege to be here. It's great to be part of it. It's history. It's our Royal Ascot.
And do you feel now with Spillane's Tower that it might be a blessing having Miss Cheltenham?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. It's very hard to do both. One year we took the year Monty was second in the Tottenham. He had run in Cheltenham in the Mile May Fleet, and he finished 5th. And he had to go back over. He came back home and went back over here. He was a tired horse, and he still managed to finish 2nd. So the plan was hatched from there to go. took off for the big one the following year.
So tell me, you've told me a little bit about Monty as a personality, feisty, and needed a bit of knowing, and had a real mind and a presence.
Yeah.
Tell me about Spillane's Tower. Describe him to me as a character.
He's a walk in the park. He's a quiet horse to run with, but he can get very lit up. He can get very excited. Just keep a lid on him. He's got a great mind once you just keep a lid on him.
And have you managed to keep a lid on him this week? When did he come over? How's he been here?
He's been good. He came over on Tuesday evening. We arrived here around 8:30, and he's ridden out yesterday morning and this morning, and he's been not a turn of hair.
And Jimmy was saying, we were chatting on the podcast last week, that he kind of lost him a little bit after Kempton, and you just went a little quiet and wasn't quite right. When did the corner start to turn?
I suppose it took him a couple of weeks to come around, and then he started to flourish when the weather got a bit warmer, and he's out every day, and
And what about today and 3 miles? We know he's a horse who has proven he can stay at a distance before. If they go a really, really strong pace, do you think that'll suit him?
I do, yeah. I'd hope he'd be coming from behind.
I sense, Jane, you can obviously read Mum's body language a lot better than I can.
Yeah.
I sense a sort of quiet confidence exuding from.
He's a very good
Double M.
horse. He's a very good horse. I do believe if he was in a big yard, he'd be favourite, and this has been their plan. Cheltenham was on the cards, and it wasn't. We kind of always knew Factified was going to run in the Ryanair, and it made sense for us to come here. And what happened at Kempton, I think nobody really knows. So we're going to forget that day. And if you forget that day and you go back to his John Durkin run, it's kind of the standout piece of form. Now I must say, when you look back at the novices that JP McManus had last year, Iroko could win the national. Mm-hmm. We're obviously a Grade 1 horse.
That fella, I know the way you're thinking, he was all right.
Factifile, Grade 1, special horse. And I know the way you're thinking is after winning the Gold Cup. Corbett's Cross was there as well. But you know what, you think you have good novices, and usually they disappoint you. That was quite the crop. And he was amongst them.
How many JP horses had you had before Spillane's Tower, Mary?
We've had 2 or 3.
Yeah. But not many, just a smattering.
No, yeah.
And what's he like to train for?
Oh, he leaves it up to ourselves, and Frank makes the plan, and we fit in where we can.
And I guess in some ways that's probably quite nice, insofar as you know what your job is.
Yeah.
And they say, right, here's the race plan.
Yeah. And it fits in there or it doesn't, and we just discuss it with Frank.
It helps when the horse is good, though.
Yeah, it helps when the horse is good. Yeah.
We can fit in with a 95er as well.
Yeah.
I love the whole family dynamic. This is very much a Mangan team effort, isn't it? How do you all complement each other?
Well, we live with the horses, it's a small setup.
You're smiling away there.
I don't know, is compliment the right word? Dad is very relaxed, he's horizontal, so somebody needs to take control of the situation, which is Mary. And everyone's very hands-on at home, but it's easier to be hands-on with a talented horse.
All right,
and I can tell you what, it's been a long wait.
So where does Jane fit into the equation now, Mary, these days? Has she always been?
Don't give the game away.
Has she always been that?
Bossy boots, yeah.
Why?
I get a call on it's not Sunday, but Friday, and they're like, oh, such and such mare needs to be covered. When? Now. What are we doing? And that's our kind of conversations.
Yeah.
So
tell me about Jane as a little girl then, and the riding and
be
growing
nice
up.
now.
Well,
the eyes are rolling. For those who aren't watching this on YouTube, the eyes are rolling now.
No, you just have to hold it a bit closer.
Sure, she grew up. She was dragged up, we'll call it. She was either horses or nothing, and ponies. And then when she was getting out of ponies, I said there was an old horse there called Castle.
I remember him, yeah.
Yeah. And he was there, he was left with us. And I said, would you like a spin in a pint? And
Dad was like, no.
Yeah. So we went off and we got the licence just to have a spin in a pint. And that's how it started.
And we won 3 that year, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
And it's quite interesting, Dad was saying no, but you were fine with it.
Yeah, I know she could ride,
And, and then when I stopped, he was grief-stricken, and she was like, Grant, job done.
Yeah.
Because I do say it because the career was kind of going somewhere.
Yeah, but she had other plans. She always had her own mind made up what she was going to do.
Funny that.
Yeah.
Mary, all the very best today.
Thank you very much.
It's been lovely to chat.
Yeah.
I know it's probably the last thing you wanted to do this morning, but
Thanks, ma'am.
It's been great to chat. And good luck with Spillane's Tower.
Thank you very much.
Mary Mangan.
We'll have tea in a minute.
Okay, right.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks.
A legend.
Honestly, yeah. Like, she doesn't like to talk. Dad is the talker, but she's the worker.
Shall we go have a look at some horses, Jane?
Of course.
Let's
yeah.
do
What
that.
have we got?
We're gonna wander
yeah,
away now. Jane's off to go and do an interview for ITV.
Charlotte,
but
do you wanna jump in
actually, this is media on media on media. So before ITV talk to Jane, can I talk to ITV's Alice Plunkett then?
Can I talk to?
This is very weird, isn't it?
Podcast.
How's it all going?
Oh, it's just, isn't it brilliant to be here? It's just so brilliant to be here. I love these mornings. It sort of, I don't know, you know what I'm like. I mean, a bit of national velvet starts sort of creeping in, doesn't it? But, you know, galloping on the track, the horses, the vibe of the place, it's just coming alive. It's just so much fun.
But it's so bizarre. Like, we did this the first morning of Cheltenham, and it's a frenetic, and everyone's a bit kind of tense and het up. Here, everyone's super chilled.
It's a totally different vibe, isn't it? I don't know whether it's, you know, Cheltenham. You know, we talk about the Olympics, don't we? We talk about the pressure, the sort of career defining. Aintree, we come here and it's an urban environment. It's totally different. People are living in the town, having a good time. But it's sort of the end of season. I mean, the Grand National is so huge, but they still feel like it's a bit of a lottery. I was just talking to Paul Town in there about I Am Maximus, and he said, you know, listen, I think he's got a good chance, but it's a huge challenge. It's still bigger fences than we jump the rest of the year, longer than we go the rest of the year, and more horses
They
than
still
we
get
go.
their blood up, don't they?
Yeah, they really do.
So you rode round this course.
A long time
and
ago.
I know, and everyone will say, okay, the fences were huger then, which they were, and it was more frightening there, which it was. But can you still remember the butterflies, the adrenaline you got when you lined up at the tape?
I so can. I mean, you know, I came here with a horse that when my granddad died, he left a letter saying, I can see this horse's white face coming up the hill at Cheltenham or landing over beaches. And the
What
horse
was he called?
A 4-year-old at the time. It was a horse called the Bold King's Hussar. And my granddad had been in the Hussars in the war. And my mum, you know, I'd had 4 point-to-point rides. He just wouldn't do it. It sounds like it was like in the 50s. It wasn't quite in the 50s. But it's a day that I'll never forget. It's such a privilege to have had the opportunity. After that, then I got sort of a few different rides and the opportunity to maybe ride for the Sun, who had a punter who'd had a cumulative bet to
Oh my God.
for Manchester United to win the treble, for all these things, and for a girl to win the national before the millennium. And we went round, we had this money to lease a horse and we couldn't find one. They wanted me to ride it, so that was a real shame. That would have been really amazing, but still doesn't take away this sort of, it was a bit velvet brownish. I honestly, I had so little experience racing. I mean, I'd done a lot of eventing, I'd done a European Championships, but to be
Did
part
you ride
of
around
this,
Badminton before this, or this before Badminton?
This before Badminton, yeah. It took me a long time then, 2000 then I rode at Badminton. So it took a long time. But this place, you know, forget me, this place is just so special. And, you know, I've just been with Marcus Armitage quite a bit recently and Molly, and I remember the day that he won the national here. There's so many touch points and memories over
Still
the
the
years.
fastest man to ever ride around the Grand National.
Mr. Frisk,
I
the
know.
fastest man. And, you know, amazing Sam Whaley-Cohen. I mean, that was so extraordinary, wasn't it? Announcing his retirement and then winning the national. I mean, what was that about?
Crazy. And just looking out over this huge acreage, like smack in the middle of Merseyside, and you think it's, 40 odd years since the campaign to save this place, and it is still here.
But isn't it amazing? It's the horses that saved the place. You know, Red Rum saved this place. There's no doubt about it. It's still at the heart of all the pomp and ceremony of the horses. The Jockey Club have done a phenomenal job to keep adapting and changing and making it current and making it relevant. But at the middle of it all is the horses, and that's what grabs people. It's the elegance, the beauty, the bravery, the partnership. That's what draws people to the national. It isn't anything else.
Brilliant words, as always. And you were going to steal Jane Mangan off.
Yeah, please, I need to go because otherwise
you've got to get her on ITV. We're going to go over and have a little chat here. Who have we got here?
Right, come on, team.
Good morning. How's it going? Is this Buddy One?
That's Buddy, yeah.
So tell me a little bit about him. He is going to run in the Liverpool Hurdle. He turns up and shows up every time.
Yeah.
Pat Gilligan, doesn't he?
For a small yard, he's a wonderful horse to have. He turns up every day. I think he ran well in Cheltenham. very well in Cheltenham, considering he was just back after a little wind procedure, and he seems to like this place. Very unlucky last year that Ollie Murphy just came and done us. I don't know whether we hit the front too soon or not, but you know, he's a great old horse to have in the yard. Great horse.
And for you personally, he's taken you on an amazing journey, really, hasn't he? So, tell me when you first got him, we
were in Ballinrobe one evening. Actually, how I got the horse was my youngest son schooled him after the Point in Belclare, on a Monday morning after the Belclare Point, and I noticed him going out. I said, "Geez, that's a nice horse." And Ollie came in. He was only, what, 15 or something at the time, 14, 15.
This is your son?
My son,
Ollie.
yeah. And he says, "This is a good horse, you should buy him." So, off Martin Cullinan. So, one thing led to another. We were in Ballinrobe one evening, and there was 3 or 4 guys, Eddie Lynch, John Jim McGrath, Tom Quinn, and they got together and we bought the horse. And we've had a great time with him since. And he's a funny sort of a dude. So he is.
He's like a kind of walking sandwich board for your training career, isn't he? Really.
Which are all the small yards like me need.
You need one of him.
You need a horse like this to keep going. He brings us to a few good places, and he's brought in some other nice horses. Also, we've another horse at home there, Sequester, that'll go for an Irish national, bolted in Leopardstown, and it's the likes of Buddy One that's bringing in these horses. So every small yard needs this. So hopefully once he stays sound, stays in one piece, and he turns up on the day. Will he win a Grade 1? He's knocking on the door. Hope to God he opens.
He's going to drop into one one day. He is going to drop into one day.
Yeah, hopefully he will. Be wonderful if he could deliver here now on Saturday, but once he comes home safe and sound, that's the main thing.
I have one more question for you. If you could train anything in the National, which would it be?
Sure, I'd love to have last year's winner.
Maximus.
Maximus, yeah. I'd love to have him, but any of them would do me.
All right, well, listen.
We have a stable.
All the very best. I'm going to leave you alone, and all the very best.
Thank you very much.
With Buddy One, who runs on the Liverpool Hurdle on Saturday. Now, Jane, as you can see, is doing her bit with Mary for ITV. You know, sometimes in life you kind of got to know your place and realise that people have an awful lot of media commitments. Rob Hogarth is the floor manager for ITV's opening show this morning. Hello, Rob.
Hello, good morning.
And of course, your other role in life, which a lot of people don't know, is that you're one of the senior work riders for Lucinda Russell.
Well, I wouldn't say one of the senior riders. I think I get some of the better horses to ride. When I say better horses, easier horses to ride. But everyone takes the mickey out of me up there because I'm by far away the youngest. So.
I should add, I was at Lucinda's last week, and she did say to me, average age of work rider is 18.
Yes, yeah, and I slightly take that down a bit. So but we take the mickeys because she did say the other day when we were circling around before we went out that my age was the same as 2 of the other work riders put together. But I said, well, at least I'm not as old as you, Lucinda.
I bet she loved that.
Yeah, she did. Yeah,
well,
yes.
You got skew there, of course, as well.
Yeah.
And just quickly, how's Ahoy Señor?
Ahoy Señor is in absolutely great form. I've actually just seen him trotting up in the stables, and as always, you can see he's full of enthusiasm, ears pricked. Just interestingly, I was up at the yard just after the Gold Cup, the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just after the Gold Cup, and he was bouncing, so took nothing out of him at all.
He's an amazing horse.
He's an amazing horse, and I'm very confident he's going to win today.
You're very confident he's going to win?
Yeah, very confident. He loves it here. It's at this time of year. He comes to light, and I think he'll bounce round here.
Okay, well, you've got to bounce off to your next mission. How do you enjoy doing the floor managing for
it's
ITV?
Brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I love it. Well, of course, it was you that taught me how to do it to start with.
I taught you how to do nothing.
Back in the
but we
Channel
were
4
very
days.
lucky to have you on Channel 4 all those years ago.
Yeah. And I've got a tip for tomorrow.
Go on.
Jupiter de Mott. I rode it last week up at Lucinda's. It runs in the 4:40 tomorrow, and I thought it felt brilliant when I rode it last week.
Jupiter de Mott tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow for Lucinda Russell.
And Ahoy Señor will win today.
Will win today.
For Rob Hogarth.
Yes.
Jane
that's my
Mangan has
thoughts.
just given you the most evil glare.
Disgusted to hear this. Disgusted.
Oh, of course, you're an Ahoy Señor hater, are you?
Opponent with
Spillane's
Spillane's Tower.
lover.
Oh, see, of course. Yeah, no, he'll win.
It's very nice of you to give us a pacemaker, though. Sound. Thank you.
Oh, what do you think of that?
Well, yes, I think, but he's still going to win.
Okay, Rob.
Right, bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rob Hogarth, who's ITV's floor manager. He's a man of many talents. Right, I suppose we've better start getting serious, hadn't we?
Yeah.
And try and work out what is actually going to happen today. This bowl is going to be run at a frenetic pace, as we heard from your mum, as we heard from Rob.
Yeah, it'll be fine. I just hope they all stand up. Ahoy Señor is one of those horses, you give him a couple of lengths and he could win. You sit behind him, he could fall and bring you down. The real whacker will go with him. Jello's a good horse. He didn't run his race at Cheltenham.
Isn't Jello the highest rated horse in the race?
Yeah.
Insane, isn't it?
But I think he's a flat track horse, is that right?
Yeah, might be.
So he's probably a forgotten horse. Gaelic Warrior is an enigma. They obviously didn't bring him to Cheltenham, so obviously...
What do you make of Patrick Mullins on Gaelic Warrior? Could that be a strategic move? Think he suits the horse? Really good ride on him in the Grade 1 at Limerick. Do you remember when he won on him there?
Who could forget? Yeah, he obviously gets on well with him, but Paul Townend has picked...
Embassy Gardens.
Embassy Gardens.
Or has he?
Surely. I would
Has
imagine
or has
he would
Willie
have had
just
the
said,
choice.
You ride this and you ride that?
Yeah.
We don't know.
Anyway, we met Embassy Gardens in a novice at Punchestown last year, and
Dispatched him.
yeah. So look, it's
You're getting quite confident, aren't you?
a good race to be in, yeah.
And all that, and I don't know how long we've been going, we haven't even talked
About Constitution
about
Hill
Constitution Hill and
the
Lossiemouth,
clash.
although Nicky Henderson's probably quite pleased. And if you didn't listen to it, you can keep rolling around after this podcast, listen to Charlotte's excellent 20-minute special with Nicky Henderson last night when he talked about Constitution Hill and the schooling he's been doing and how he's been going since that fall at Cheltenham.
Yeah, it's tactically fascinating. 5 runners. Wahood is a forgotten filly. She's only a 5-year-old. She's improving. Martin Pipe winners tend to be good. The mare will follow him. Where's the pace?
That's a good question. I mean, one of them, surely one of Constitution Hill and Lossiemouth is going to have to be bang up there.
Well, she's
Nicky
not.
Henderson says it's not going to be Constitution Hill.
And he's not.
Right.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be cat and mouse.
Okay. I'm just going to bring Charlotte in here because the rarely seen Charlotte Greenway, but often heard Charlotte Greenway. You
Yeah.
were working very hard yesterday.
I did. I had the double podcast for the first time.
Do you get paid double for that then?
I should do. I haven't brought that up yet, but maybe I will.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Everyone knows I'd be nothing without you. But last night you got Nicky Henderson for 20-25 minutes to talk about all the stars. What did he say about Constitution Hill? I mean, you can listen to it in a minute, but for those who haven't got the time, précis it for us.
He seems fairly confident that Constitution Hill is bounced out of Cheltenham. He said he, didn't actually really have a race. He had a decent gallop, but, he didn't push himself out of his comfort zone. So I think he's hopeful that he can come back here. No problem. Obviously, we've heard about all the schooling that's been going on, the loose schooling. Nico schooled him. They all seem happy. So, and he seemed fairly confident that when he won here 2 years ago, he wasn't his most impressive, but he didn't think the trip beat him that day. So,
Did he think he bounced off the champion hurdle a bit?
I think a little bit, and also the fact of how keen he was. So they're just hopeful that they can get him to settle this afternoon. And I think, then they think they've got a real chance.
How are they going to get him to settle if there's no pace in the race over 2.5 miles?
I tried to ask him whether...
Let him roll!
I said that to Nicky, and he said there's absolutely no chance that we'll be making the running. I said,
Is that a
surely.
Nicky Henderson thing? He doesn't like them making the running?
I don't know. Is that? I mean, do trainers fall into those?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Some people love their horses prominent, and like Tony Martin will never have a horse make the running.
But I thought that Lossiemouth, really, she should be the one that's going on. She can just dictate the pace. She doesn't want to crawl. She's keen enough if they go steady.
Last time she made the running, she saw a seagull and got a really heavy fall.
Are you buying the seagull theory?
No, I'm not.
Do you buy the
But
seagull theory?
I don't buy the bird, but I buy the fact that she was probably looking. She took such a heavy fall. She never rose a leg, so I'd say making the running's off the table for her.
Okay, there's 4 of us in this conversation because behind the camera you can't see
The face of
the great Josh Stacey. But what I want to know, all he has to do is nod. Is Constitution Hill going to win today?
God,
he doesn't like him. He doesn't like. Is Lossiemouth going to win today? Yes, she
I
is.
love that the Canon camera has such a good brain.
And he is a man. He is a man of very, very strong and defined opinions. So there you go. You heard it here from Josh that he thinks Lossiemouth might be the one. Could you give Who any kind of chance of bustling up the front too?
Yeah, I could. She's an improving mare. I actually don't think we know how high her ceiling is yet. She's only 5. She's got a string of ones next to her name for good reason, and she won well at Cheltenham. It's an ambitious thrower in there, but as we saw at Cheltenham, anything can happen.
We've got some superb racing today. We ought to talk about the first race as well, which is a hell of a novice chase. It really is, because you've got a horse in there in Django Bay who won that helter-skelter crazy Arkle, but a whole bunch of horses that have been kept fresh for this.
Yeah, it's a proper race. Like this racing is as good as Cheltenham. There's just not as much hype about it. I like Croke
Well,
Park.
we're trying.
I like Croke Park. He skipped Cheltenham for here. He's Drinmore form where he beat Hartwood, looks pretty good now, and he's run behind Ballyburn at Leopardstown. He's such an electric jumper, and he'll be forward. They put cheek pieces on Perry Pass, not surprising because he went completely to sleep at Leopardstown after winning the Grade 1 at Limerick. And Django By. Yeah,
What did he say about Django
I have
Bay?
to believe it. I see to believe it.
Because I said to Nikki, I heard an interview with him, I think it was at Newbury, where he said a week after Cheltenham, if there's one horse that looks like he's had a race, it's him.
Okay.
And he said, I don't think he'll be going to Aintree. And then he seems to have come alive at home, so they're happy with him. But the one thing he did say is, I hope we've gone far enough. He did have an entry in the 3-mile novice chase. And I think that's ultimately where he sees him down the line.
Says a lot about the Arkle, doesn't it?
Yeah, I wouldn't be so worried about trips. It's more a question of, right, how much did that take out of him? And you never know, do you? You can get them home, they can be great.
You got a ferociously hard race.
You're not putting them into that sort of heat at home in between the races, so you just don't know.
Yeah, no, that's a fabulous novice chase. I know we're a little bit lamenting the absence of Lulamba in the 4-year-old, but
Why did he go 2.5?
Trip, ground, to the trip on this ground. And also, he says it gives him an extra 2 days, which he said it can only be a help.
Do you reckon I can butt into Alice Plunkett's conversation with Gavin Cromwell
rob
over
him,
here?
absolutely.
Do you reckon I can?
Let's rob him.
And round it off. We're gonna.
Last time you talked to us, he won a Gold Cup.
Can I do a hostile takeover? What do you reckon? I'm looking at Rob and Dan and Jamie from ITV over there. If they shake their head at me, I won't. But no, I'm good. I'm getting the thumbs up. I'm doing a hostile takeover. I'm doing a hostile takeover because I reckon we brought you luck on the first day of Cheltenham. And I remember when we did this, Cheltenham first day, I said to you, who are the 3 for the week? What did you say to me?
I can't remember what I said to you.
I'll tell you what you
mention
said.
him.
I'll tell you what you said. You said Stumptown straight off.
Yeah.
And then you said, remind
You
me of the
might
mayor
call
who
me
was
mad,
remind me
but I know
of
the
the
way you're
mayor
thinking.
who was beaten in the who
Only
should have
by
won.
night?
6.5. Thank you very
Or
much.
6.5,
Yeah.
sorry.
Who was immoral. And I know the way you're thinking.
Yeah. I didn't want to sound stupid by, talking up a horse against Gallop and the Champs, but I thought he had a big chance.
It was. Do you know what? It was the only reason why I kind of half thought he would run well was because of what I was getting the vibes
He
I was
knows what
getting.
he's talking about, that dude, yeah.
How is he, by the way?
Good. Yeah, he's great. Yeah, he's come out of it well. We have a huge gap between Cheltenham and Punchestown, and I think if all the stars are aligning, he could go there. But we're happy with him at the moment.
I really only knew the horse on paper, really, and seeing him in the paddock before we did the bit on Luck on Sunday the other week when he was in the stable the day after the Gold Cup. And so many people kind of wrote in and said how lovely it was to see him, slightly fell in love with him because he just appeared to have this incredibly sort of taking way about him. Has he always been a bit like that? Has he always been a bit sort of special, charismatic?
Yeah, from the first day he came into the yard, he struck us as he could be a Gold Cup horse. He's absolutely gorgeous looking horse, and have huge presence about him, huge pedigree, everything just.
You've actually trained a lot of the pedigree. How is he different to his sister Limerick Lace?
Listen, she's obviously a very talented mare as well, but very marish. This year didn't happen for her at all, and she's retired and got a stud. But a very talented mare as well, and she's a full sister.
Yeah.
Hope she's looking
seems-
after Crystal Ocean at stud anyway.
He seems a bit more straightforward than her, doesn't he?
Oh, very much so. I mean, he's very, very straightforward, where she's not at all. The mammy Sway, she's very good mare.
special,
She was a very
yeah.
good race mare herself in France, and she knows how to read them.
So he's resting up at home, I know the way you're thinking. You've got some serious horses in the Grand National this year. We talked about Stumptown, but Percival Le Gallois, who a lot of people fancy, and Vanillier. As we get closer and the sun shines and the ground dries a little bit, who are you sort of leaning towards?
I don't know, to be honest. They all have, there's plenty of positives about them all. I suppose Percival Le Gallois is the one that will be able to travel on better ground, where the other two may be just lacking a gear. But, will he stay the trip? We're not sure. I think he should. He hasn't jumped these fences before. Vanillier has. Stumptown, I don't think it's going to be an issue. He's going to love them. And listen, they're all in there with a chance.
Do you remember the very early days I started doing the podcast? I rang Gavin and who were you running? I can't even remember who the horse was. It was a very high-profile horse, and you said, never mind. Oh, it was Flooring Porter.
Okay.
And you said, never mind Flooring Porter. I've got this horse called Vanillier. He's just done a bit of work with him. He'll win the Albert Bartlett. He was 50-1.
Yeah, and he was a good winner too.
Yeah. And do you feel like he's got all his old ability back? That he's kind of got a new lease of life?
He certainly is right up there with it. Anyway, I know he is 10, but he's in great form, and it was a brilliant run in the cross country. He's coming home good and strong. It is a concern. Will he be lacking a gear? He's probably going to be flat out everywhere in the race, and on the better ground, it is a concern.
And Stumptown was talking to Keith about him the other day. It sounds as though it's not a question of gears; it's more a question of whether he's switching himself on or not.
Yeah, he's going to have the blinkers on, so hopefully that'll help him travel. I think the fences will switch him on.
Okay. And what about the rest of the week? Who are you most looking forward to?
Only by night on Saturday, the race after the National.
Did you feel mugged?
I felt.
Mugged for you.
Somebody picked our pockets. It was. I thought she was home, and I think she knew herself she had the others covered, and then she just got mugged. But it was a brilliant run, and I was delighted that I ran her in the right race.
Can we just raise one note here? Gavin could potentially win the Grand National with any of his aforementioned contenders and have to saddle a horse for a Grade 1 an hour later.
Yeah, I think it's mind that.
No, but it is not. It's wrong. There should be no Grade 1 after the main showpiece.
Well, we've been here before. Because there wasn't originally, there was, and then there wasn't, and then there was again. And it's all to do with what time of the day you want to run the Grand National. If you push it back later again, if you get a dry day, you risk the ground drying out a bit more. You can't water in the middle of the day, so you want the ground to be in the best shape. Broadcasters have shunted it backwards and forwards. BBC wanted it earlier, Channel 4 wanted it late, ITV wanted it somewhere in the middle. There's so many different factors.
You could put the conditional riders race after the National.
Yeah, listen, I'm not going to be too worried about it.
No.
Although I hope I'm in the middle of celebrating the National.
Your Grade 1 won't be remembered.
Listen, if he wins the Grand National,
he won't know.
Just chuck the saddle on someone else and say, get on and saddle that.
Absolutely.
But
see, that's wrong. A Grade 1 should be the one that you're building to.
Yeah, you're right, Jane.
And thinking, that's an afterthought now, that's wrong.
Your mum was right earlier. You're always on the bridle, aren't you?
Just make it a point.
It's been good to chat. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Best of luck.
Appreciate it. Good luck this week. Gavin Cromwell bidding to add the Grand National to the Gold Cup now.
We have a Mullins string here.
Who have we here? The Mullins string to round off our day one of Aintree live podcast. There's a man who's going to have a good day, I fancy, or a very interesting day anyway. Hello, Patrick. How's it all going?
Very good. So far, so good.
Who we got here?
This is Key to Bourbon.
Rather nice horse.
He is. If I don't fall off him, he'll be a great ride tomorrow.
You got there before I did.
Yeah, I saw you coming, Jane. I have to get in quick.
Now, just for context, and I'm sure everyone knows this because Jane talks about you a lot on the podcast. You two do go back a long way, don't you?
We do. We go back a long way, Jane. Still holds it over me. She beat me in a bumper and Gorham one day on a Gigginson horse.
Oh yeah.
A short head.
We wheel out that replay every couple of years.
Yeah. So I've been on the end of many a bollocking from Jane. So.
Was she quite vocal in a race?
No, it was silent assassin in the race, but she'd let you know afterwards.
She was quite good though, wasn't she?
So I'm getting a raw
deal
this morning,
She was like a flat jockey, much more stylish than the rest of those amateurs anyhow.
You've got some style to turn on today, because the ride on Gaelic Warrior could be a huge one, couldn't it? He's all the talents there. What's happening with him at the moment?
Yeah, well look, I was pleasantly surprised to get on him. Obviously Paul, Embassy Gardens working very well and probably had a more straightforward season. Gaelic's been a bit stop-start. Look, it's a question mark, the ground, the trip, the going the direction, but he can handle them all. It's just whether he'll handle them all in one day is the question mark, you know.
I was talking to your pal Joe Chambers. He was getting the train from London. He was in a very chipper mood this morning at 6 o'clock, and he sort of was of the view. He's like, Patrick just gets a tune out of this horse. He's sort of in his head a bit. Do you feel that?
Well, no. Like I've ridden him 3 times, and we were second in Cheltenham. We won in Limerick, and we were second in the Grade 1 at Christmas, so we get on reasonably well. But look, he's obviously, when he's good, he's very, very good, and when he's bad, he's not so good. So I enjoy riding him. I know him a lot at home, and I just think he's a horse with the most ability in the race. And if we can get him settled, stepping up, he's had 4 runs over 2 miles now of chasing, Solness, and obviously Matata in the Arc last year, so it is going to be 2 strides slower.
He'll feel comfortable even if they go fast for 3 milers, won't he?
Well, definitely, yeah. It's just whether he'll settle. I don't want to be fighting him for 2 miles, but I think he will. And I think he jumps. I think with a lead he'll jump fairly straight. My little worry is where Ahoy Señor is going to be in the race, because he obviously jumps right as well. So I don't particularly want to be behind him.
You don't want to be behind him or to his outside. It leaves you a bit of a problem.
Yeah. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see when we go down and start who's lining up where, and we have a couple of plans. Hopefully one of them might work.
Talk to us about Embassy Gardens as well, because obviously he was very good at Tramore. He was quite a good hurdler. I remember everybody was banking on him for the Alba Bartlett at one stage of his life. He's a bit hit and miss, isn't he?
He is. He's always been a very good workhorse. Beautiful horse to ride. Settles very well. Jumps very well. He is 9. Even though he's only a second season novice and lightly raced, he is a 9-year-old. I do think this trip and track and ground would all suit him, because he's got a lot of high cruising speed. But to me, he has to step up a lot to be competitive in this race.
I'll talk about the Grand National in a minute, actually. What's Lossiemouth going to do today? I don't mean in terms of where she's going to finish, but with no pace in the race, how's she going to play it, do you think? Or how's Paul going to play it?
Yeah, I don't know what Paul has in his mind. Over 2.5, I don't think we have to be too worried about being slower than Constitution Hill. My thing is, maybe we didn't perform at Christmas, but Constitution Hill hadn't ran for a year at Christmas, and so to me he's definitely going to be a better horse this time. So I think we're up against it. I think Constitution Hill, look, if he turns up, he wins. I don't know what Paul has in his head. I wouldn't be afraid to make the run with her. But I don't think over 2.5 you have to ride it like a slow horse.
And so you said you put it on the wish list to ride Nick Rocket in the Grand National. Are you going to ride it?
Well, look, there's still a bit of time for it to go west.
No. What time are we recording at? 10 to 9?
10 to 9. Look, I haven't been told not. I think Paul's going to ride Maximus, and so I think I'm on board. I gave him a pop yesterday, and that went well. So Willie was at the match in Anfield with Willie last night, and we haven't seen him yet. So unless something went amiss between now and then.
Is he still there?
He could be, yeah.
Good luck this week.
Great, thanks so much.
Great week, beautiful day. Good luck on this fella as well.
Yeah, looking forward to having another crack at this fella now. He'd have gone close in Cheltenham, I think.
Okay, fingers crossed on Cater Bourbon.
Yeah.
Wonderful lineup of Mullins horses here at Aintree, the distilled group. What have you distilled it down from about 70 to about 40?
I think it's the high 20s, I think.
The high 20s. Tremendous day's racing, Jane. Thanks so much. Loved meeting your mum earlier.
Yeah, hopefully she has a bit of luck and everybody has a good day.
That's it then. That was the Nick Luck Daily podcast live from Aintree, out on the gallops, morning 1. And the winner today is... Go on, are you brave enough?
Yeah.
Is she brave enough? The winner today is...
Spillane in the bumper.
Oh, she bottled it. We're not bottling it, but we'll be back to do it all over again tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks to all my guests. Thanks for listening. You've been listening to Nick Luck Daily. This episode has been brought to you in association with Timeform, your trusted source for racing data and analysis, by Total Performance Data, the world leader in thoroughbred performance technology, and by FitzDares.